Earlier, we begin round number 6. 28-24 power punch edge as well, landing 36% of his power punches, is the 4-division world champion. That first title was won back in 2007. 105 pounds he won.
You might ask, how are some fighters able to fight late in their careers as their age continues to increase and some aren't? And I would say fundamentals. Nietes always has his hands in position. Even when he ducks down, you'll see him have that left guard above where his temple is and protecting his chin, looking over the guard, trying to look for a shot. His feet are always in the right position. And when you have good fundamentals and great fundamentals, you can go deep into a career, whereas a fighter who doesn't, who just depends on athleticism and speed and power, they tend to fall off the cliff and fall off rather quickly.
It also depends on the fighting style as well. As you can see, Nietes, he's more of a boxer, counterpuncher style as well. If he's more of an aggressive fighter, then his years could be shortened.
I think he's aggressive in spots, Tim. I think he's right in front of you, but he's just crafty when he's in front of you.
And I don't think 38 is really old. You know, I'm 37. I'll be 38 this year. And mentally, I feel like I could do it. But physically, my body will not hold up. So I think it has a lot to do with your body as well, you know, how much you take care of your body outside of the ring and also during your training camp.
Well, if the big buzz in boxing holds up and comes to fruition with signed contracts, we're going to be talking about another Filipino when it comes to how much age is a factor, and that is Manny Pacquiao at 42 years old. So many reports this week of the talks of a Pacquiao-Crawford welterweight showdown. That would be June 5th, about an hour away from where the fights are coming to you today. That would be in Abu Dhabi. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
Tess, anytime you say the name Manny Pacquiao, I don't think about age.
You think about Rolexes, Tim. You think about Rolexes is what you think about.
And many Teslas.
No, I just think age is no other factor. That guy is special. He's a special fighter.
Well, this would be the ultimate test to find out how special Pacquiao is, as his fellow countryman is in control here, coming to the end of round number 6. Nietes in control against Carillo, but
his Crawford career, this is what he needs. He needs this type of recognition, the notoriety. If he can beat a guy, a legend like Manny Pacquiao, then without question, he's the man.
Dre, obviously everybody wants to see an Errol Spence fight, but in listening to the two fighters recently, you know, there's little hope that we get that in the near future. We can hope. As big of a fight as that would be, and that would be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fight that you could make in boxing, one of the biggest events that the sport can produce would actually be this, Pacquiao-Crawford. There's a big difference between a great match, a great bout, and a big event. This would be a big event.
Of course. I mean, again, because Manny Pacquiao's associated with it, and you have my pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world associated with it. So, of course, it's going to be a big matchup. And boxing is just strange like that. Like, I for whatever reason, we're not getting Spence Crawford, but if Errol Spence wins another title against Ugas, and he's got 3 out of the 4 belts, and Terrence Crawford takes care of business against Manny Pacquiao, all of a sudden, that fight's going to seem a lot more doable than it is right now.
Yeah, coincidentally, that title that Ugas would have is because the WBA has put Pacquiao as the champion in recess. If you want to follow along all the plot twists of the Alphabet Soup organizations. Round 7 here, halfway through. Nietes has been controlling things, the 4-division world champion, who is coming off the long layoff. Last fight was December of 2018. Won the vacant WBO Junior Bantamweight World Championship then. Had a 12-round split decision against Kazuto Ioka. 17-year pro, very popular among the Filipino fight fans. This is his first fight in the Middle East. 37 times he has headlined as the main event fighters. A right hand from the former champ. 37 times back home in the Philippines, he has been the main event fighter. Remember, at the end of this 10-round co-feature, we will get right to the World Championship fight between Carl Frampton and Jamel Herring. Wide sweeping left hand just off the mark.
I knew sooner or later Nietes was going to realize that Carillo can't fight well going backwards. He's pressuring now.
Here, Jesse Porras Piata in the corner of Carillo, encouraging him to do it like that and like that. That he wants. Last time we saw Herring was against Jonathan Akendo. That was back in September, won by DQ, but the way he finished up that night created a lot of questions as to what we will see tonight. Whereas he's dealt with so much recently. Everybody's had the layoff in the sport, but then COVID positive. And then the delays to this World Championship fight. And the wait is over. Frampton and Herring just moments away.
We saw Nietes open up with both hands and be more aggressive than we've seen him this whole fight, and that's what he does. He's sort of like a knuckleballer in baseball. He'll just keep chipping away, a little bit here, a little bit there, and when he lands that shot, you'll see him open up and try to finish the show. He couldn't do it against Carillo, credit to him, but you better believe that Nietes is looking for that big shot once again in these next 2.5 rounds.
One of the shots that he's looking for, Dre, is the left hook. You know, I see a couple of times last round. Beautiful uppercut. See, the uppercut is a dangerous shot because it comes from the bottom up. You don't see it. You know, you're used to seeing hooks coming around and right hands coming around, but you just don't see the uppercut come right up the middle.
But Carillo's game. Nice three-piece from Nietes.
Yeah, Carillo was just walking straight forward. Nietes just met him with punches.
Síguelo así, síguelo con tu derecha, con tu derecha. 30. ¡Vamos, Pablo! ¡Crúzalo! ¡Eso, esa!
It's good positioning inside from Nietes. He gets hit with the shot, he makes the adjustment, he rolls to the side, he rolls back, hands are in position, and he's looking for a shot. He didn't have one, so he resets. Beautiful, beautiful sequence, even though he got hit with the punch.
And then a three-punch combination on the inside. It was good upper body movement, even at close range, for division world champion. And debate. Well, it's 6 more
inside, and I assure you that Bo Mack has went over in the gym with Jamel Herring over and over about how to defend against anybody attacking with their head. So I'm not really worried about it tonight, Tess, at all. I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to find the proper distance to face Jamel Herring, and to face Carl Frampton, and I think he does well tonight.
Eso es. Síguelo, síguelo. Muy bien. Síguelo tú. Eso. Súbeselo enseguida. Crúzalo, eso. Eso. Por arriba. Sigue, ejerce la presión. Le da de cura. Por arriba.
I think Nietes has pretty much tamed Carillo to fight the fight that he wanted to fight. In fact, I think it's been that way the whole way through, but I think it's very, very evident right now that Carillo is tamed. He's a very tough fighter, so he's going to keep throwing, but good shot from Nietes. I don't see Carillo trying to land shots that he's setting up. He's just sort of surviving in there.
From the opening bell, Dre, Carillo's just been, fighting at this pace outside. I mean, I think it's his game plan. His game plan just stinks tonight. That's not the game plan I would come in against an older fighter, a veteran fighter, and Nietes. That right there is what game plan I would come in. Smother him, get close, beat on him anywhere you can. Slow this man down. Don't give him any chances to think.
The right uppercut again from Nietes. Very sneaky.
Now Carillo's getting real aggressive, and he's leaning just a tad bit over the front knee. That's why you're seeing Nietes looking for the uppercut. He's a veteran.
ESPN that night. 10th and final round here between Nietes and Carillo.
I mean, I heard about touching gloves, and I've seen it, and I've done it in the last round as well. But a hug and all that stuff—that's a lot of respect both men have for one another right now, man.
Sounds like a little too much respect for you, Tim. Pace picked up here from Carillo.
And that's what happens when you're facing a master. And all of a sudden you realize that you've been taken to school, you've been taught, you've been educated. You can't do anything but give respect, and that's what Carillo's doing right now. It's a different type of beating. Some would say, oh, that's too strong of a word, but is it really? When you have a fighter in Nietes who's taken away your greatest strength, but he exploits all your weaknesses. And he's not fighting the way he looks on paper. He's not fighting his age, or he's not fighting, the amount of miles that he has on his odometer. He just seems to fight younger, smoother, sharper, and he's smarter than what one may think. And that's what Carillo has understood the hard way in this fight.
That's experience. That's great timing by the former champion, Nietes.
Nietes wins more fights with his brains, his IQ, and his experience than he does any physical gift that he has. And I never wanted to get to this point. I always wanted to keep the IQ and the physical gifts in line together. But it's a beautiful thing to see a fighter go late in age when they can still control a younger man like this.
Who was really good at that, Dre, was Bernard Hopkins. He was great at that, yeah. He beat everybody with his mind. That's why he stayed in the business a long time.
Donnie Nietes knows how to swim without getting wet.
He does a little bit of everything, right, Dre? A little bit of everything. He can come forward. He boxing from the outside off the back foot, stepping to the side, stepping around, going down to the body. I like what I'm seeing from him.
Timing a right hand there.
The key is in the eyes for Nietes. He's just always looking at the target. Even in the midst of being under fire, his eyes are always locked in on the target. Never out of position or rarely out of position.